We are live.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us in this webinar on the Biz Portal. It's the flagship project of the CIPC, and we try and make company registration and related services as seamless and as efficient as possible using this channel. We invite you to now listen to Sizbile Makubu, who will take you through a presentation on exactly how the Biz Portal works.
Thank you so much, Rihelda. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sizbile Makubu. I work in CIPC within the Innovation and Collaboration Unit. I will take you through this afternoon on a presentation on Biz Portal. If you can just display the presentation, Rudzane, so that we can proceed. Okay, fantastic. While we are finalizing the proper display of the presentation, I think I can just start. Okay, the next slide. Okay, most of you might be familiar with CIPC, which is an entity under the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. The entity is established in terms of the Companies Act of 2008. Obviously, it's preceded by other entities, two entities in particular in the past, which was CIPRO and OCIPE, which merged as a result of the promulgation of the new Companies Act of 2008. Now, we are responsible for the registration and regulation of companies, of cooperatives, and IP rights. As CIPC, we introduced Biz Portal to offer you in South Africa. Biz Portal was launched in 2019, in November 2019, as one of the channels that CIPC offers to its customers. It is our flagship channel, as Rihelda has explained. But what it has done is that it has increased service delivery or improved service delivery tremendously. We moved from a hybrid company registration regime
Rihelda, can you take over? Sizbile disappeared.
I think there are some technical glitches. To our audience, apologies. We understand that sometimes, especially when we have load shedding, we have some issues with our connectivity. So basically, to just inform the audience that a service delivery improvement is very important to the CIPC. And what we've done through this Biz Portal is to move away from a hybrid concept to a completely paperless, automated environment. We only use the details on Home Affairs documentation. What you can get using the Biz Portal, i.e. you go to bizportal.gov.za, and if you would like to do a company registration, you want to file your annual returns, if you want to reserve your name, if you want your BEE application, if you want to do your SARS registration, you log on to the website, bizportal.gov.za. You go to services and you can select any of these listed services on the screen. Besides the listed services, we offered as a package as well with company registration, where you can opt for any of these that are listed below. Currently, there is a delay with UIF and compensation funds, so we ask our users to rather contact the Department of Labor directly as opposed to using this. We will put out a notice once the service is effective and efficient again. It takes very long currently, but for all of the other services, you are welcome to use such. Next slide, please, Rudzani. The main benefit for end users using the Biz Portal is that it is very efficient. A company registration can take minutes if you conclude the process instantly. In other words, you fill in all of the necessary fields and you conclude your payment. There is no need to visit multiple offices. It costs 175 Rand. That is the prescribed fee of government. We know that often our users don't realize that the government does offer services that are actually quite affordable, and you pay exorbitant amounts to third parties. It's not necessary. It's 175 Rand loaded onto your 3D authenticated card, i.e. a debit or a credit card, and you can get the service. Or if you have a virtual CIPC account, you can use your declining balance. If you'd like to have a domain name, it costs 15 Rand and 75 cents. That is your .co.za that you can also apply through using this channel. Next slide, Rizani. In short, the Biz Portal offers simplified company registration and related services. It's fully automated. We've got partnership agreements with other government departments as well as the private sector, Department of Labor, etc., ZERNA, and so on, with 6 of the major banks through which you can apply for a business bank account. In other words, as you apply for your company registration service, you can say, yes, I would like to open a business bank account. I would like to open it with any of the banks that are listed on the screen. That bank will call you back within 24 hours and they will go through their process. As easy as that, to basically open your to get your company formalized and to open your bank account. With that too, we offer the option of you applying for your BE certificate as well as your SARS, the SARS tax reference number you get instantly. What we've added to the Biz Portal currently is Google services for small businesses. If you go onto services again on Google, on bizportal.gov.za, click services, you will see a range of services. You will see Google listed there as well. You can apply for what they offer to small businesses. You will see a SARS icon. Apart from your tax reference number, you can do all of your other SARS businesses by clicking on some of those links as well. We hope to include more services soon. So yes, we'd like to hear from you. Engage with us. I think that is basically the gist of what we want to share with you today. Thank you. Thanks, Rizani. Or maybe I should just on a high level go through the process to register. You'll have to firstly, as you log onto the Biz Portal, you verify yourself. Then directors, we verify through the details on the ID document or marriage certificates if there's a civil marriage involved. Then we ask details for possible company name. Typically, we ask for 4 company names. If one is rejected, we go to the next and the next. You also have the option not to register with a company name if you prefer to do so. Then you fill in your company details. You can choose UIF or CF registration. Like I say, at this stage, it's not advisable to do it through the Biz Portal because we've been experiencing delays because of system challenges in the DEL environment. However, the BE system works quite well, so you can apply for your BE certificate. What you'll have to put in is your shareholding details, just to say that how much is black and white owned, as well as women and the gender breakdown. And thereafter, you will have an option to apply for a business bank account. And voila, you pay your 175 Rand and you're off to go. You'll hear from us. Thank you. And that's basically just some additional information on the services that we offer that we had said before, completely paperless. We don't have any agents. So if somebody masquerades telling the public that they are an agent of the CIPC, we do not have such. The Biz Portal is one of our formal channels through which we engage our customers, and that's it. No third-party involvement in the CIPC processes. Thank you. We have seen in a year's time that there's been a marked increase in the number of Biz Portal registration requests. Now it's much higher. It is a reliable form through which businesses can be formalized, and we encourage the public to do so, because you won't have to have forms certified. You don't have to upload anything. You just need your ID document, and if you are married through a civil marriage that's registered with the Department of Home Affairs, your marriage certificate, and perhaps the ID of your spouse, because what we do through the Home Affairs verification is ask for certain details that's only on those documents to be verified through your process. Thank you. Again, just some statistics and how long it takes. It actually takes less than a day. The services I've spoken, we've added these services. I mentioned Google with SaaS services. We've got annual returns too. If you're an existing business and you would like to file your annual return, use the Biz Portal. It's very intuitive. It asks you prompting questions, and through that, within minutes, you can update your record by the CIPC and pay the requisite fee. If it's a small business, you would know that the amount is typically minimal, 100 Rand or 150 Rand. We're always trying to make it a little more easy. So we've also added name changes as well as address changes. With address changes, remember, 5 business days must lapse in terms of the act before we can implement the change that's been requested. Thank you. Yeah, then there's just some of the experiences that we'd like to share from some of our users, that they're quite happy with the service, and we would like to hear from you too. If you have used the service before, how did you find it? If you haven't used it, give it a try and give us some reviews on social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and we have a YouTube channel as well. So thank you so much. Radzani, I think you can stop the presentation there. Thank you very much. Now we'd like to get some questions before I'll hand over to Tandu to take us through a demo or play a video. We see there's one question. Registering a company. I've sent my documents via email. I used the tracking number. Why didn't I get my certificate? I'm not sure. Maybe you can use maybe Tobile will respond to it in the chat, but what we would suggest is that you use the online query resolution tool for e-services. You probably used one of the other channels, which is e-services, and that you pose your question there with your tracking number and somebody will come back to you. This is what typically happens in some of the other channels. That is exactly why we encourage our customers to use the Biz Portal instead. Then you'd not have to do any photocopies or emails or anything. In fact, I'm not sure even if there's an email box open for company registration, sir. Unfortunately, Kaleo, if your name was rejected, if all your names were rejected, we charge a service fee of 50 Rand for that. So if you want to reserve a new one, it costs 50 Rand, and then you can just apply for new name reservation. Maybe Tandu, you'd like to respond on the ways in which the customers can retrieve their documents once a registration had been completed?
Thanks, Rielda. I'll respond to that during my presentation.
Sabelo, if you stay online and keep on watching, Tandu will take us through his presentation just now. I think on that note, I'm going to hand over to Tandu to do his presentation, and then we might respond to most of your comments that we see there. Third parties will no longer be required. The last one that I'm taking before handing over. What if a client was to appoint a third party to oversee? Third parties are by all means welcome to use CIPC services. What we say is that they are not authorized by the CIPC to render services. They do it by their own accord. So if a client prefers to do so, we know in many instances we would like rather a consultant to do our business. You're welcome. What we are saying is that we offer a deal direct service through CIPC's channels. Tandu, over to you.
Thank you, Rielda. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tandu, and I'll be taking you through a look at the services that we offer on Biz Portal. Just bear with me for a minute or so. I'm going to start playing a video clip, and then I'll load my presentation. Just hold on a sec.
Welcome to the Companies and Intellectual Properties Commission, the CIPC Biz Portal. Now, before we dive right into what is available on this beautiful site, you've got to know why it exists. The Biz Portal is brought to you by the CIPC. This is being done in partnership with major banks, the Compensation Fund, the UIF, B-BBEE, ZADNA, and government agencies like SARS. This is going to be a one-stop shop where all of your business questions will be answered at the click of a button. One-day paperless company registrations that cost less than 200 Rand. Tax registration, B-BBEE certificates, domain registrations, and opening a business bank account. It'll all be done here. This portal was created to make it easier to do business in South Africa. Should you experience any problems with the Biz Portal, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Biz Portal, brought to you by the CIPC.
Thank you so much, Thando, for that. Are there any more comments from our audience? I see there's a question about annual returns, Owen. What you can do is you can log onto the Biz Portal. I think there's a bit of buffering probably from one of the other presenters, but you can log onto the Biz Portal. You can go onto annual returns. If you have money in your normal debit or credit card, you can just complete the transaction without having to do a physical deposit into CIPC's account. Thank you. Colleagues, I'm handing over to you.
Thank you, Rielda. Right, so first off, I'll start by saying the only way to access Biz Portal is through the website address, bizportal.gov.za. We've had some people try to access the website through our test website and also the other websites, but the only way to get to the Biz Portal is bizportal.gov.za. All right, so as I said, my name is Thando, and I'll take you through the list of services that we have on Biz Portal, and I'll show you how they work exactly. All right, so after landing on the website, the first thing you need to do is to log in. So we use the same login details as you would use on the CIPC e-services website. The only difference is that we, instead of typing in a customer code as required there, we ask for an ID number. You might have noticed as well, it says South Africans only at the moment. So if foreigners want to register a business, they can still use the e-services. For now on Biz Portal, we cater only for South Africans. We'll look into adding foreigners in the future, but for now, it's just South Africans. All right, so if you can't remember your login details, we have a password reset option. Type in your ID number, we send you an OTP to the cell phone number that's linked to your profile. Now, you need to make sure that your contact details with us are always correct, because if we try to send you an OTP and your number is no longer valid, then you can't receive that OTP, and that means you can't reset your password. In that case, the only option you've got to reset your password is through our manual password reset option. How that works is that you need to visit the CIPC website, cipc.co.za, and look for the password reset option under the menu items. Then they'll guide you through on what you need to do. You need to submit a certified ID copy via the query website, enquiries.cipc.co.za. Certified ID copy, and then they'll update your cell phone number and email address. Then you'll be able to use either the e-services website or Biz Portal to do your password reset using an OTP. All right, so after you've logged in, the first thing that you see is a user profile page. On this page, we give you your details, your name, your surname, as it appears on the Home Affairs system. If you've got a balance in your CIPC account, we give that to you as well. you might notice there are also 3 tabs there: company profile, user profile, and stats. So on company profile, we list all your companies that are currently registered with CIPC. We also give you the status of the company as well as AR status. AR status is annual return status. You should be aware that every year that you have a company registered, you need to file annual returns with CIPC. These are different from the SARS returns that you need to do as well every year. These are CIPC annual returns. That's to let us know that your business is still operating. Whether you're operating or not, you need to file annual returns to let us know that you want to keep your business active. So I'll show you how to file annual returns later on in the presentation. Right. So the second tab is user profile. That's where we show you your contact details, your cell phone number, email address, and we also give you an opportunity to update those details, as well as changing your password. You use that option. So there's a button there that says change password. You just type in a new password. It must meet our requirements. It must be at least 8 characters long. There must be at least 1 capital letter, at least 1 small letter, and at least 1 number. You can use some special characters, and we tell you which special characters are allowed in the process. Right. So once you've logged in and you've looked at your profile, the next thing to do is look at our services. So that list you see over there is what we offer currently on our website. The 3 services that are highlighted in red are not active yet. We're working on them. We should be making them available in the near future. We'll do a webinar on that once they are available, and we'll show you how they work exactly. For now, we have Biz Profile. I'll explain what it is just now. We have company registration. We have SARS services. I'll get into that a little bit. Domain name registration. For now, we redirect to the e-services website, but we should be offering that on Biz Portal very soon as well. We have BE certificates, compensation fund, and UIF. You can open a business bank account with 5 banks at the moment. We're about to add Capitec in probably in the next few weeks. We have company name changes. We have address changes, annual returns, and as Rialda said, we just added Google Business Services.
Tanda?
Yes.
Tanda? Your slides are not moving.
Which slide are you on now?
Slide number 1. Yeah.
I'm actually on 5 now. Let's try that again.
Can you maximize it?
Yeah, can you see that?
Maximize it.
It is maximized.
Yeah.
Are they moving?
To the presentation slide. Yeah.
I'm on the 2nd slide now. Can you see that? The login page.
Yeah, just make it a presentation slide.
It is on presentation.
Yeah,
it's on full screen. It's on full screen.
Make it on full screen. No, it's not.
I guess we have an issue with.
Go to the 3rd button, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, hold on. Just confirm if you can see the presentation mode.
Not yet.
I think we're going to have to run it on the other mode then, just to save time.
Okay.
It should still be visible.
Can you email it to me in the meantime?
Okay, I'll do that. All right, I'll do that. Please bear with me for 2 seconds while I send this on email.
Razani, I think you must leave it as is. I think the audience is following what Tandu is saying.
Okay.
Well, we can always upload the presentation later. So Tando, you might continue.
You can start. I'll fetch you.
All right, apologies about that. I'll send it to you, Rodani. Just confirm if you can see me moving to the second slide.
Okay, yeah, signing in, BizPortal signing in.
All right, so basically, I've explained this. That's our login page, and that's where you can reset your password as well. It's all on the login page. The next page is the user profile that I explained about, where we display your details, as well as your balance. And that's where you can see all your companies that are registered companies, corporation, cooperatives, everything will be listed there with their statuses. Then the next tab on user profile, that's where you can update your cell phone number and email address, as well as change your password. Right. The last slide that was on is the BizPortal services, where I explained that the ones that are highlighted in red are not available yet. We'll make those available as soon as we're done working on them. Right. So I'll just jump over to the first service that we had on that list, which is BizPortal. So BizPortal is basically a search. It's a free search that anyone can use. So you as a layperson out there can log in on our website and you can search for any company that's on our register. You can see all the details linked to that company, who the directors are. I'll show you a screenshot of that just now. So you can search by enterprise name, which is a company name, or CC or whatever name. You can search by enterprise name, the registration number. You can search by a director ID number. If you type in an ID number, you get a list of all entities that are linked to that ID number. So let's say you've typed in a company. In this case, I typed in what's this? Sorry, Digital Vibes, and so I can view the company details for that company. I can see who the directors are. If they've got auditors appointed, I can see who those auditors are. You can see the entire history of the company. So if there was a director that resigned at some point, you'll see when the director resigned, who they were. If the company has applied for B-BBEE certificate on our website, on any of our CIPC websites, then you'll see those details. There's also the other details option, which shows you your tax number. If you're registered for UIF and compensation fund through us, then those registration numbers will show on that page. We're working on adding more services onto this page from either government departments, or it could be other regulators. We'll let you know once we add any service. At any time we add a service, we'll put it out there. We'll do a webinar, or we'll put out posts on social media. Right. So basically, that's BizPortal. It's a search that's freely available to anyone to use. Okay, so the next service is company registration, which we get a lot of applications from. I think each month we get between 10 and 15,000 companies registered via BizPortal. We try to move people from actually using the e-services website to use BizPortal, because on e-services, you still need to print out a form, sign it, upload it, attach certified ID copies, and all of that, or send by email. On BizPortal, it's completely paperless. You don't need to submit any documentation. All our company registrations are processed within a day. That's if you follow the rules that I'm about to tell you as I go along with the process. Most people that don't get their companies registered within a day, it's usually payment-related issues. I'll explain those a bit later. All right, so there might be some documents that we need, that you need to have in hand before you start the process. We need these for verification. You don't need to submit them anywhere. So we verify your profile with Home Affairs. That's to replace the signature. So that's why we don't ask you to print out a form and sign it. We do an online verification rather. So we ask a few questions depending on your Home Affairs profile. Then if that checks out, then we regard you as verified, as if you've signed the document, right? You need to note as well that the verification is done directly by Home Affairs. So you give us an ID number, we send it to Home Affairs, and they give us results. Sometimes it happens that the results come back saying the ID number does not exist or something like that. We've had a few queries like that, but you've noticed that sometimes the Home Affairs system is not available. And when it's not available, it returns errors like the ID number does not exist or something like that. So just know if you're sure that your ID number is correct and you're getting an error that says it's invalid, then just know that at that point, Home Affairs is not available. We ask you just be patient and try again in a few minutes maybe. It usually happens after midnight, between midnight and the early hours, like 4 or 5. It hardly ever happens during the day. Right, so let's move right along. Oh, sorry, there was a question earlier about how to retrieve your certificates once you've registered. So once you've logged in and you clicked on company registration, there's links at the bottom there. There's new registration certificates, and Biz Profile. Biz Profile is what I just explained a few minutes ago. The second option, registration certificates, that's where you download your certificates. You click on that, all your companies will be listed there. All you do is just click on the send email button, and your documents, your registration certificates will be sent to your email instantly. All right, so let's go on to the new registration option. Currently, we offer 2 types of companies online. So we have private companies and we have non-profit companies. We get a lot of questions about non-profit organizations as well. We don't register those. Those are done with the Department of Social Development. At CIPC, we register non-profit companies. For non-profit companies, you need to have at least 3 directors in the company. For private companies, it can be just 1, but there's no limit on the number that you can add. So you can have 15 directors if you want to. We will allow you to register those, but there must be just at least 1. For non-profit companies, there must be at least 3. All right. So the next step is to type in all your director ID numbers. In this case, I've typed in 3 directors. You type in an ID number and we get your details from Home Affairs. So you don't do much typing on Biz Portal. You type in your ID number, we get your full details from Home Affairs. We also check your delinquent status. As you might be aware that sometimes a court of law will declare someone delinquent. And in that case, you're not allowed to register in your company or be a director in a company. And we check that if the delinquent status says you are delinquent, then unfortunately you can't proceed further from the step. You can't register as a director. So if one of these directors was delinquent, we wouldn't be able to proceed to the next step. And all you'd have to do is remove that director, then proceed with the ones that are not delinquent. All right, so the next step is the Home Affairs verification. So you'll get a list of all the 3 directors that you've added. It's 3 in this case. So you get a list of all those directors that you've added. And as I said earlier, you get a list of random questions depending on your Home Affairs profile. So in this case, we've listed Rielda, we've listed myself, and we've got Offense there. So for Rielda, we got 3 questions: the date that her ID card was issued, the date she got married, as well as her spouse's ID number. So if all of those details check out, then she'll be verified. For myself, it's the date of issue of my ID document. And for Offense as well, it's the same question, the ID document issue date. And we're able to pick up whether you've got an ID card or an ID document. You can see on Rielda's verification says identity card. And for myself and Offense, it says identity document. So we can pick up which one you've got. And just note that on those days, only the last issued identity document or card is valid. So if you still have an ID book and you've got a card, you can't use details that are on the ID book. They're no longer valid. That ID is no longer valid. So you can only use your latest issued ID from Home Affairs. Right. So once all of that checks out, we ask you for contact details for each of the directors. We ask for cell phone number, email address, as well as the physical address for each of the 3 directors. You need to note that you can't use the same contact details for the directors. So we can't share cell phone number and an email address. The physical address can be the same, but we can't share a cell phone number. We can't share an email address. The system will block you from this point if you try to give us the same details for different people. Right, so the next step is company details. We want to know what the financial year end for your company will be. We want to know how many authorized shares the company will issue once it's registered. So we have options like 100,000 or other. If you select other, then you can type in any number that you want to type in there. So you can issue shares, issue however many shares that you want to issue for your company, as long as it's not 0. It can't be 0. Right. And we also want a physical and the postal address for the company. But we've got that button there that says you must check if the physical address is the same as a postal address, so that you don't have to type in a whole lot of stuff, the same stuff over and over again. All right. So once you've captured your company details, the next step is picking a name for your company. At this point, we have three options. You can either use a name that's already been reserved. There are people who go and reserve a name before they register a company. You can apply for a name as part of this process, which is the recommended process, or you can register your company without a name. That's also allowed. And in this case, the company name becomes the registration number with the word South Africa appended at the end. Right, so let's say I choose the apply for a name as part of this process. So I get an option to type in 4 names, 4 proposed names, and I must type in those names in order of preference. So the name that I type in first will be tested first, and if it fails, then the second name gets tested, and so forth. So I typed in Digital Vibes as my first option. It told me that it's already registered, and it gave me the registration number of the company that it's registered to. I typed in Biz Portal. That is available, as you might be aware. Biz Portal is not registered as a company, so that might be available. Another thing you need to note, we might say it's available. There's a note there. We might say it's available, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be given to you. It doesn't mean that it's approved at this point. There's still more checks that we need to do at the back office. This currently takes about an hour or 2 for these checks to be done. Then we either approve or reject your name. So if it says available here, it does not mean that it will be given to you. It will not be automatically approved to you just because it says it's available. All right. So as I said, you type in your names in order of preference. You can type in just one name if you want, but it's advised that you type in all 4 options just in case the first option fails. Then we're able to look at the second option. If that fails, then we look at the third option. In this case, then you don't waste your 50 Rand. We will approve one of the names, but that's also not guaranteed depending on the names that you've typed in. You can also use Biz Profile to do searches for related names. So just play with Biz Profile, search for names, and see if there are any related names to the names that you want to submit. If there are, then chances are that your proposed names will be rejected. All right. Another thing that you need to note is that at this point, we'll send you an SMS and an email with a reference number for your name. It does not mean that you're done with the process. Some people, when they get that SMS or an email, they exit, they stop the process. You're not done yet. And if you stop at this point, then your application is not saved. You will not receive anything from us. You need to proceed. That SMS is just to let you know that you've submitted this name and this is your reference number for the name. We do issue another reference number for the company at the end of the process. So your company at this point is not saved. All right. The next part is compensation fund and UIF. So Rialda mentioned it earlier that we're having trouble with the UIF and compensation fund at the moment. Unfortunately, this is out of our control. We don't control the registration. So we get your details, we send them to UIF and compensation fund, and they do the processing and they return a registration number to us. Unfortunately, this does not always happen. It happens for some transactions. It doesn't happen for some. So we are in talks with them to try and sort out the issues. It's the same reason that we had to suspend the service a few times in the last year or so. We had some applications not being processed. I think right now we have a list of quite a big number that's not processed. So we're getting complaints every day about it, and we're working on getting the Department of Labor to start processing those. Otherwise, we might have to pause the service a little bit again. As Rialda said earlier, you are more than welcome. Actually, right now it's the recommended option for you to register directly with them. Just visit the Department of Employment and Labor website. They should have information on how to register. If you register with us, we don't guarantee that it will be registered instantly. All right. Once you've captured your, so we ask you a question there. You only register for UIF and compensation fund if you have employees. You as a director are not an employee in the company. So if you've hired someone as an employee and this person works for you at least 24 hours in a month, then you need to register for UIF and compensation fund. It's not whether you want to register or not. If you have an employee, you must register. All right, so if you select no, then it'll move on to the next process, which is BEE certificates. We ask you a question again if you'd like to apply for a BEE certificate. If you select yes, then you'll get a form where we ask you about how many shareholders are there, how many are black, and how many are female. Then we ask a few more details depending on the numbers that you typed, and then we give you your BEE ranking instantly. And after your account is registered, you're able to log in on our website and download your BEE certificate. After you've captured your BEE details, the next part is business bank accounts. We ask you if you'd like to open a business bank account. You're not obliged to, but if you want to, you can use the service. If you select yes, then we give you a comparison of the banks that we have partnered with and their pricing. So we've got Absa there at 80 Rand, FNB at 80, Capitec at 65, Nedbank at 60, Sasfin at 50 Rand, and Standard Bank at 5 Rand. So it's not all of their accounts, but that's the cheapest bank account option that they've got as an offer to their customers. So if you'd like to apply for a business bank account, you select yes, and then you select the bank that you'd like to bank with. What we do on our side, we take your company details, we send them to your to the bank that you've selected, and then the bank will start the bank account opening process. They will contact you. So at this point, we can't tell you where in the process you are with your application. Once we've sent the documents to the bank, then they start the process on their side. If you've got a query on the bank account, then you need to contact them directly. So contact the bank that you have selected. Some banks are very quick to respond than others. Some respond within hours, and some take a few days. And we've had issues with 1 or 2 banks that never respond to their customers, but we've taken that up with them. So unfortunately, again, this is out of our control. It's controlled directly by the banks. So if you have a query with regards to bank accounts, please contact your bank directly. You're also more than welcome to come back to the website and apply with a different bank if the bank that you chose is not giving you any joy. So you're allowed to come back at any time and do a new application. We won't block you. Right, so the last part of company registration is the payment. The recommended option for this is card payments. So online card payments, you select that option, you add to cart. If you have a balance in your CIPC account, you can use that. You select that second option there. As I said, the recommended option is the card payment. But if you decide to do the deposit option, then you must pay directly at Absa, because deposits made from other banks into an Absa account, let's say EFT from, we have a lot of issues with Capitec. Some people pay from a Capitec app to our Absa account. Unfortunately, we will not get those funds allocated to your account automatically, because what Capitec does, they take the reference number that you've typed in, they append extra characters to it. So when it gets to us, it's no longer the same reference that you typed in. So in that case, we are not able to allocate those funds to you. In that case, your only option is to, again, go to the CIPC website, log a query under allocation of funds in the finance department, attach a certified ID copy and your proof of payment. This process takes up to 10 business days. So you'll see that's why we recommend that you either pay using your card online, or if you want to make a deposit, then deposit directly at Absa. If you bank with Absa, then you can use the EFT or the app or whatever. But please pay directly at Absa to avoid delays. So once you've made payment, then that's when we start the process on our side. We've had companies registered within a few minutes, 10 minutes, but we guarantee you that your company will be registered within 24 hours. So basically, that's the end of company registration. The next part, I was just highlighting what I've already said, that you need to make. Oh, sorry. When you've submitted your application, you need to make sure you make payment as soon as you submit your application. It's better if you had money already in your CIPC account, or you use online card payment. Then we get that money instantly. We have issues with paying EFT from other banks. You need to make sure that you use the correct reference number. We give you a reference number. It's always your CIPC customer code. Some people use, as I said earlier, we send an email with a name reservation reference. Some people use that reference, that email reservation reference, as their payment reference. In that case as well, we can't allocate your funds to your account. Then you need to follow the same process to to get the funds allocated, the same manual process where you upload your proof of payment as well as the certified ID copy. You just need to note that applications submitted over weekend are only processed on a Monday. We don't have people working on weekends, so we can't process those. You might get your company within a few minutes, even if it's on weekend. Some of our name reservations are automated. Some need someone at the back office to just look at and then approve. So if your name doesn't need anyone to look at, then the registration should be within a few minutes. Yeah. Let's move on to the next service, which is SARS services. So for every company that's registered on our side, we instantly register that with SARS for a tax number. So when you get your documents, your company is already registered for tax, you have a tax number. They do send an email with your tax reference number, but you can always come back to the website and click on tax registration. We'll give you your tax number there. You just need to note as well, we get a lot of questions about tax clearance certificates. SARS no longer offers those. They stopped that in 2019. They no longer issue tax clearance certificates. Instead, they replace that with a tax compliance status, and they issue you a tax PIN. So if you'd like to get that, we don't offer it through our website, but we have a step-by-step guide on how to get that done on the SARS e-filing website. So you can select that second option there that says tax compliance status. We'll give you a detailed step-by-step guide on what you need to do to get your tax compliance status. Next service is company name changes. So currently on BizPortal, we only offer name changes for companies that currently do not have names. As I said earlier, you can register a company without a name, and you also get companies without names if you submit proposed names and all your proposed names fail. We still continue and register your company, but it will be without a name. In that case, you need to apply for a new name reservation at a cost of 50 Rand, then the name change is completely free. If you'd like to change a name for a company that already has a name, then please use the e-services website. That costs 250 plus a 50 Rand fee for the name reservation. Next part is the annual returns. I mentioned earlier that for every registered company or closed corporation, you must file annual returns every year on the anniversary month of your registration. So for instance, if I register my company in June this year, from June next year, I need to file my annual returns with CIPC every year. We've got a table there with the fee. So for a company, if your turnover for the year is less than R1 million, then you have to pay 500 Rand, 100 Rands if you're filing. If you don't pay within 30 days of your filing date, then we add 50 Rand to your fee, which makes it 150. If you make a turnover of more than 25 million, then your turnover fee, the fee that you need to pay for your annual returns is 3,000 Rand. Right. So the process is quite simple. You click on annual returns, you get a list of all your companies and with their annual return status. So one that's due for annual returns will have that file option enabled. And you can just click on that. And once you've selected a company, then it shows you the year that you've filed for and the years that are outstanding. So for each year that's outstanding, you need to type in the turnover for that year. So in this case, from 2018 to 2021 for this company, they have not paid annual returns. So I've typed in a turnover for each of the years. If your company is not trading and has not made any turnover, then you type in a 0. You select calculate, then it tells you exactly how much you owe for your annual return. You can't pay for some years and not some, so you pay for everything at once if you owe more than 1 year. Then there's what we call annual financial statement as well as financial accountability supplement. I want to get into the annual financial statements because that's for businesses that are very established. It's mostly your listed companies and your public companies, state-owned companies as well. For most people, you just need to read the details there. For most people, they'll have to do the financial accountability supplement. With that, we ask a few questions related to your company about who keeps records of your financial statements, and just go through the questions. It's just a question and answer kind of thing, and then you're done with that. The next part is we ask for some operation details, ask if your business is currently operational or not. We ask where you're trading. Is it at the registered address? Are you trading online? This is mainly for stats purposes. We want to know where you're operating from and want to know what business you are doing. We want to know the nature of your business. So what industry are you in exactly? We want to know how many employees you've got and how many shareholders are in the company as well. Right, so once you've selected all of those answers, then the last part is payment. This is similar to the company registration payment. You can either use your CIPC balance. If you don't have any money in your CIPC balance, then you will not get this option for using your CIPC balance. Then your only option is to use a card payment. We are working on adding more ways to do your payments, but for now, card payment is the recommended option. So once you've made payment, then your annual return is filed for the year and you're done. Next service is address changes for closed corporations and companies. For closed corporations, it's done instantly, but for companies, the Companies Act says that we can only effect that after 5 business days. So you submit your details, you submit your email address, your website address if you have one, and then you type in both your physical and your postal address. You file that, you don't have to submit any documentation to us. If it's a company, after that 5 business days, then we effect the change and we send you your new certificate instantly. Lastly, we just introduced a service that's called Google Business Services. As you know, if you go into Google and, for instance, you search for barbershop near me, then you get a list of barbershops with how far they are from you in kilometers, and you get their contact details as well as brief information about them. So that's how you get this done. You register with Google. It's called Google My Business. So we facilitate this process. Currently, the process is a bit tricky because you register with Google, but they need to verify your business. And for them to verify your business, they need to send you a postcard. The postcard is coming from the US. And as you are aware, our postal process is not very, what's the word? Yeah, it's not very good. So most of the time, people do not receive those postcards that are sent from the US, and that means they can't get their businesses on Google. So Google has teamed up with another company that's called Africa 118 that makes it easier. They facilitate the verification for you. So once you indicate here that you want to register your business with Google My Business, then we redirect you to the Google website and you do your registration, and then Africa 118 will contact you to get the verification done. It should take a few days instead of the months that it usually takes when you have to wait for a postcard. So basically, that's what we offer on Biz Portal currently. And like I said, we have new services that we're working on. We will do a webinar on them once they are ready for the public. If you'd like to contact us, we're available on social media. There's our social media pages. You can contact us on those, or you can use the CIPC social media pages as well. Biz Portal is part of CIPC. You can call our call center. I know there's a few issues with the call center at the moment, but I was assured that they're working on fixing those. Please note that we will not accept any email queries. So all queries, if you have a query that can't be sorted on social media or via the call center, then you need to log a query on the CIPC website, cipc.co.za. Then there's a query link there. You need to click on that and log your query there. So that's the end of my presentation. We will entertain your questions now. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tandu. Are there any comments? I see the chat room is quite quiet. Are there any comments from the audience? The UIF registration, I'm not sure which platform you used, but there is a significant delay. What we would suggest is that you register using their platform, go on to Department of Labor's website, and because it's very unlikely that they will be looking at historical applications. So rather log on to their website and log your query with them or dial the call center. Unfortunately, as Tandu said, it's something outside of our control. I think Tsepo, I mentioned earlier to one of our other clients that by all means, if you prefer using a third party, do so. However, what we try to demonstrate is that it's just as easy to contact and to deal with the CIPC directly. Yes, you may. If you have the explicit permission from the individual, you may register on their behalf, and if they voluntarily give their verification details to you, as long as you have that arrangement in place. Yes, Owen, I think we addressed your earlier query, namely that your annual returns you can submit on Biz Portal. You actually don't need the CIPC banking details, but it's on the website under banking details. But it's advisable to use a card. The turnaround time, when did you register? And Tebogo, when did you register? Because based on that, we can determine what your turnaround time would be. It is Biz Portal, one word, Andy, and you go under services to company registration, and those other options will be presented to you. Unfortunately, the BEE legislation only allows us to update it once a year. You have the option to go to a police station or any commission of oath and have an affidavit compiled and that you can use. How long will it take before you receive your documentation? Whenever you log onto your profile, you should be able to retrieve that. How you remove yourself as a director. Maybe Tando, you'd like to try and answer that?
Hi, Stephen. Currently, we don't offer director amendments on BizPortal, but we are working on having that option there. For now, you need to use the e-services website. So go onto the e-services website and file for a director amendment. Just know that if you're the only director, then you can't remove yourself, and the company can't have no director at all. So you need to log on into the CIPC website and file for a resignation, not a removal, because a removal has more requirements than a resignation. So you need to resign. All the details are available on the CIPC website.
Thanks for that, Tando. Let's see, Crazy registered 2 companies using the Biz Portal, both registered without a name. It could be that you've opted for company registration without a name in the event that the names got rejected. I think that's what happened there. You can always attach a name later. You can apply for name reservation and attach it as a name amendment to your application.
So just to add on that, Rielda, if all your proposed names failed, then your company will be registered without a name. In this case, as I mentioned earlier, you need to file for a new name reservation for each company at a cost of 50 Rand, and then you'll be able to do a name change on our website at no cost.
Thanks, Tando. And in terms of your BE certificate without a name, I'm not sure what platform you used, Vusi, whether it was BizPortal or not. You can send us a direct message and we'll look into it.
Vusi, you just need to log in on Biz Portal, go into company registration, and then a registration certificate. You should be able to download your certificates from there. We don't send them automatically. You need to log in to retrieve your documents.
Well, the annual returns, if you've paid, isn't that at the end of the process that you have already updated your details and then you do the lodging, or did you pay it separately? Because it's important that you update your details on the annual return side of the website. Yes, the Biz Portal is. Sorry, Tando?
Sorry, Rielda. Some people do make payment before they file annual returns. Please note that paying and filing are 2 different things. You need to actually submit a filing. So you've made payment, but it won't be allocated to your annual return. You need to log in on our website and do a filing. Then, only then, your 100 Rands will be allocated to your annual return. The Biz Portal is live. It's been live since November 2019. Tsepo, I'm not sure we can answer this question, but we don't do, as CIPC, we don't do mergers. If you would like to merge company, then I think it's up to the directors of the company to do that. Directors have certain things that they need to do on their own. They need to keep documentation on their side. So we don't, as CIPC, won't know that you've merged these two companies. If you would like to make them one company, then we advise that you deregister one of them. Lacinda, a director can only be declared delinquent by a court of law. You can't do that yourself, so you need to approach a court. From our side, we get documentation from a court, and then we just implement what's been given to us.
And that was the last question.
Thank you so much, Rutani.
Thank you, Rutani.
Does it bring us to the end of the webinar today?
Yes, and those who would want to watch the webinar on a later stage, they can find it on our Facebook pages and all the pages, Facebook and YouTube.
Thank you so much.
It's also available on Twitter. Thank you, Rutani. Thank you, Rela.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your time. Bye.
Okay, that brings us to the end. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Cheers.